Welcome to another episode of OG Talk. This is Chase. Nice seeing you guys again. I've been away for a while. Um, I've been having a lot of things going on. I spilled something on my hoodie. Um, there's been a lot of things going on with me personally that has caused me to kind of take a step back from things for a little bit. I've missed getting on here, but things have been so chaotic lately that, I just got a ton of things going on in my personal life right now. This year has been a year of transition, and, it's been very difficult to navigate, where to really put your focus on. Today, though, I really wanted to talk about something I don't think that I talk about enough, but I'm finding it so important in my life, and I had to share this. As I stated earlier, this year has been very difficult for me personally. I've had a lot of changes. If you watched earlier episodes, I got into an altercation. I had, I've had just a very difficult year this year, all in, defending myself and, what have you. But as I do these videos, I want you guys to always draw strength from me, right? I am a regular dude. I live in Northwest New Jersey. I am 50 years old. I am a regular guy. I shouldn't say that. I'm far from regular. I am just unlike any human being that is here, and you are too. That's why we connect, because we're authentic. My authenticity a lot of times gets me in trouble. Because I don't know how to be phony anymore. I used to play the game, but now I can't play the game anymore. I can't be phony. I have to be me. And with that comes its challenges. But, after going through something recently, and I had to make a decision, a hard decision, but one that's going to benefit me in the short term and long term. During that, I started getting a lot of information, in my spirit, about, have you ever really stopped and looked at everything that you have to be grateful for? Like, Chase, have you done that? And I had to ask myself that, and I said, I really haven't done that in a long time. When you're a person like me who, 2 days after my graduation, high school graduation, I was thrown out. My mother just threw me out, So from that moment, I've had to fight, and I teach people, or I try to motivate people, it don't matter who you are, you never give in. I'm just that dude, but when you've had to fight your whole life just to survive and just have all these things repeatedly come after you, when you get a beard like this, or a goatee that is turning whiter by the day, but I refuse to color it. Anyway, when you have to live that way, you develop an instinct of fighting and going forward and just never giving in. And that's how I've had to survive. And, in a lot of my videos, I preach that, we never give up. You just can't give up. You have to do your mission on this earth this time, or you have to come back. I really believe that. But anyway, and I try to inspire courage in people when they don't feel it. A lot of times I do these videos and I am going through absolute hell, but I can't project that energy. You know, sometimes I know when I do these videos, they're not about me. It's about the message that I'm supposed to give. But I've let life distract me too much that I haven't been able to do these videos or even know what perspective to come from. As you know, I'm sure is, you know, on purpose. But back to what I was saying. I started realizing and I started seeing a lot of things online about gratitude, right? And I realized that I'm not grateful enough. And I think that, you know, I don't know if a lot of you are like me, but you get so caught up in what's next and what do I have to do and pushing yourself to keep going in a society that is built to tear you down. When you're dealing with so much life stuff, sometimes you don't stop and pause and be grateful for just waking up in the morning. There's a lot of people that didn't wake up this morning. Or some people that will not wake up tomorrow, and I'm not guaranteed to wake up tomorrow, and neither are you. Have we ever just been thankful for being able to see our five senses? You know, to be able to walk. You know, if you've ever experienced anything, you know, well, we all have pain, like real hard pain. It's amazing how we forget about that pain once that pain goes away a lot of times, you know. And you forget about it, right? You know, once the storm passes. But how about us being real intentional about, I'm sorry, that sun is kind of beaming in. I'm in my car right now, so I'll try to fix that. I'm sorry about that, y'all. That causes any kind of interruption to your viewing experience. Is that better? I guess. Okay. Anyway, so I said, you know what? You know, I was looking at this YouTube thing, and they were like, well, you know, you can start writing down, you know, 10 things that you're grateful for every day. And I said, you know what? I really haven't stopped and been as thankful as I need to be. You know, for 50 years old, you know, I'm thankful, like I'm healthy, you know, relatively healthy, and, you know, as far as I know, and I'm able to do these videos, and I'm able to, you know, walk and run and work out and do pretty much physically anything that I want to do. That's a blessing, you know. If you have pets, anything that you got going on, man, whatever you have, any possessions, your health. Number one is your health, being thankful for your health. Look, I had a childhood friend. He was a little older than us, Big Al, Hollywood Avenue, East Orange. Shout out to Al. He passed this week, and he was only maybe 54. And, you know, he was such a cool dude, but, you know, he was a little older, so, but he was always, you know, play sports with us and stuff, and, you know, give us you know, he was only a teenager at the time himself, but, you know, real cool dude, man. Big Al died this week, and I started thinking about how many people my age have passed, and I'm still here, you know. And you're still here. You know, you've survived every bad thing that has ever happened to you. You're still here. You know, if you have parents, you know, if you have people that you love that are still alive, man, be thankful for that. You know, if you got a car, you know, I don't care what kind of car it is, you know, Be thankful you can drive around. Be thankful you got a driver's license, you know, that you can afford insurance or whatever it is. Like, you know, that you have a job. Like, we got to start being grateful, yo. But more than anything, man, being grateful that we are here, yo, that we get another chance every day, you know. So I started doing that, man. And I encourage everybody, man, you know, when you wake up in the morning, before you do anything, write down 10 things you're grateful for. And number one should be that you woke up. And if you're not in any pain, because I'm telling you, as a 50-year-old man, some days, you know, like, I don't want to put more light on it, but man, like, I got this hip thing going on. Like, my hip be giving me some issues lately out of nowhere, you know. And it hurt, you know, it'll freeze up on me, you know. And those days when it's not hurting, you know, and I'm learning to do little exercises and stuff. But, you know, days that my hip or my back, like, you know, I be having back issues sometimes, and, you know, shoulders and all that. Like, days I don't feel nothing, like, I feel good. I'll wake up, play with the cats or whatever, you know, run around with them, you know, before I got to start my day. Those are great days, man. And now I'm starting to, like, the one thing I'm learning is now that I start my day with gratitude, like, I never want to start another day without it, you know. It's like a conversation with God almost, you know. And again, whatever category you want to put God, you know, it doesn't matter to me, but, you know, it's only one God to me. So when I say God, I include all. So just be clear with that. But yeah, I think that, you know, it's like a conversation of God and being like, you know, like, I'm thankful. I know I complain sometimes, and I hate when I get in those moods, like when, you know, those moods when I'm not as thankful and I'm frustrated. You know, I'm a human being, man, and I'm not perfect all the time, you know. You know, so, like, you know, I make mistakes and sometimes I complain, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start making it a point to every day talk to God with my daily journal. And, you know, I call it my daily gratitude journal, and I just write down, you know, 10 things I'm happy for, yo. Like, yo, I got the best daughter in the world, yo. Like, I got the best kid, for real, like, in my eyes. Like, you know, I've been blessed with such a great daughter who, you know, is doing well and happy. You know, she's seemingly happy, you know. You know, and I'm just like, you know, I'm proud. Like, I'm really proud of her, yo. Like, me and her mom split when she was 2 years old, and we've been able to co-parent great. And, you know, Shari, when you see this, I love you. You know, we broke up when she was 2 years old, and that was tough. You know, that was a real tough time in my life. And I always admit it was all my fault. You know, I wasn't a responsible man during those days, and you know, so me and her mom split when she was 2, and, you know, we've always been able to co-parent. But, like, my daughter been, you know, so adaptive to everything, and, you know, she's just an angel to me, yo. I couldn't ask for a better kid, yo. And I'm thankful for that, because, you know, unfortunately, I know a lot of people who don't have good relationships with their kids. You know, I know that personally. So when you can have that type of relationship with your child, there's nothing more important. I'm grateful for that. When my daughter says, you know, she said in the past, you know, like, I couldn't ask for a better dad, like, I'm grateful for that, because that means that, you know, through all my struggles in life, that, you know, it was worth it, because to the one person that it matters the most, my child, like, she loves me and she tells me, you know, you're a great dad and you were a great dad, you know. And what could be more important than that? You know what I mean? Every struggle I went through, nights I had to work overnights, and I'm dead tired, and doing all I can to survive, and you know help give her a good life. You know what I mean? Along with her mom, like I did my best. You know what I'm saying? Um, and she acknowledges that that I didn't have that easy path. Like, I've never been a rich man. So, I had to work 2, 3 jobs, you know what I'm saying? To like, you know, to make sure I could survive. And like when she needed things, of my mom, who really rarely didn't need me for much. She makes way more money than me. But but regardless of that, me and her mom always co-parented well, and we've always gotten along and everything. So it worked out perfect. And it could have went the other way. It could be me and, you know, um, her mom's husband. We could be at odds. We could not like each other. But that dude, cool, yo. Like, he always been solid. He a great brother. I consider him a brother, And, all three of us have been able to, mold our daughter into, the great person she is today, So I'm thankful for that. And like I say, gratitude, gratitude. You feel so much better when you start your day with positivity. Don't just go to your phone and start scrolling. That's the worst thing you could do. And even at night, like, I'm gonna start getting better at that. Like, not stop the scrolling. Even, when you're tired at night, like, stop the scrolling, for real, for real. And just let's all start being more grateful. But a gratitude journal, for real, like, it really gives me a lift in the morning. And sorry for the longness of this video back, but I missed y'all. Y'all will be getting more content. I'm gonna work my way back. I'm going through a lot of life stuff right now, as usual. You know how our lives are. When you have that light in you, it attracts a lot of darkness too. And but life is always a transition, and we just keep moving forward. So I love you all. I'm gonna talk to y'all soon. All right, later.